Welcome to the social roundup with Sala and
Andrea. Oh my
Andrea.
god,
How
it's
are
you!
you?
I miss you. How are you? I'm good. I'm good.
It's Friday and I'm seeing you after such a long time, and I'm getting to see you at the end of the week. This is like really heartbreaking, to be honest.
I
How have
know.
you been?
I'm being good. I'm being good. Just a bit stressed, but it's fine. How are you? How are
Okay.
you?
I was sick for the past 2 days, so feeling better now. But yeah, it's been quite a week. And if you are tuned in right here, let us know how your day has been as well. Do you want to tell them how they can let us know?
Of course, they can join or try to talk with us by our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and also downloading the app by iOS and Android. That is for free.
Definitely. And we'd love to hear what you have to say as well. Andrea, the weekend is right here. Like, time is flying so fast. I can't even keep track anymore. That's how fast time is going. And to be honest, I'm excited to end my week with you on the social roundup.
Oh my god, me too, because I
Uh-huh.
really love to talk with you. And I don't know, I always say, like, what
Ah,
another interesting story Sally is gonna say today.
we'll see if I have any of them. And Andrea, to be honest, like all your positive energy just keeps me going during the day. It's definitely something I look forward to on the social roundup as well. And I'm sure everyone else looks forward to it as well, right? And we actually have something interesting today that we're going to be talking about, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that makes me a bit mad, to be honest,
Ah,
because I don't like unfair things. And we're gonna
definitely.
talk about the gender weight gap and the silent child abuse.
Yeah, definitely. And these are problems that we need to be talking about because I feel like, we tend to overlook the bad things that happen in life. We're always, ignoring these problems. We say, you know what, oh, these are not actual problems that we're facing, but it is a problem that we face. And until we face it, it's not a problem for us, which is actually not right, right? And it's something that we need to be giving attention to. Actually, Andrea, what do you think about the gender wage gap?
I don't really like that because it's not because of the money, it's because of the reason behind that. Like, why does woman need to be paid lower than a man? I mean, they do the
Exactly.
same work. They do the same work.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
that
is
is
so
that's the thing.
true. But see, that's what I'm saying because to be honest, people don't even know what a gender wage gap is. Some of them don't even know that a gender wage gap exists, and that in itself tells us that it is a problem. Now, a gender wage gap necessarily means that a woman is getting paid less than a man for the same work, like Andrea mentioned. And why is that happening? Why are we giving space for that to happen? Right now, Andrea, like I was reading up on how gender wage gap could possibly be happening, right? And have you heard of the thing where, basically when you hire someone, they take a look at your CV, and sometimes when you include a picture of yourself on the CV, if they see a woman, the chances of them hiring her are less.
I know, I know. I mean, why? Why? It's
Exactly. Like it's mind blowing why people would do that. Like if you see a woman, why would you simply say no just because she's a woman, right? It is something. Have you faced that situation with any work environment?
mm, maybe with my mom, like, because
Okay.
when she works, like, I mean, she
Uh-huh.
can do things better than a man, to be honest.
Yeah,
And when she applies for a
definitely.
job, they said, "Okay, but we need a man." And my mom said, "Give me a week, and I you will see that I do that better." And my mom ended getting the job instead of a man.
Yeah.
So I'm just surprised with that because they don't realize that woman can be not better, but same as another person.
Definitely. And exactly, like I want you to take a look at how your mother had to do more than a man to show that she's worth the attention, which is really sad because ultimately, when women work the same job, they're supposed to put in double the effort that a man does just to show that she's worth the same price, with worth the same amount or salary that they're paying, which is really heartbreaking to be honest, because I've also noticed like in work environments, you have women who are overworked and men who don't work at all. It's heartbreaking, right?
That's
And
a
do
good
you
point. That's a good
exactly
point.
do you feel the same pressure in like when you work?
To be honest, no, because I think that the place that I work is really fair with women and men. Because I think that that should be normal. Not like surprising me that that's fair. I think that that should be normal. Why do we need to say, "Oh no," because it's normal? No.
Exactly. Like I think one of the places that I worked in before is just definitely something that like blew my mind because I was on a Zoom meeting, right? And we had three girls and one boy. And it was a part-time job. Like basically you work 2 days of 3 days of the week, I think roughly. And the boy literally did nothing. The man rather didn't do anything for the week, and he was just finding excuses. And you have overworked women who are working 6 to 7 days of the week just to cover up for what he was doing. And I was like, he's getting paid the same salary. Why are we putting up with this sort of behavior? And like, if the girl were to mess up a little bit, they would make a big deal out of it.
I know. I think that people are like, no, like, I'm not, I don't want to generalize people, but some older people are sexist with those things.
Definitely, definitely. That is something that we need to think about because we see that the older generation that is hiring us, that are the employers of these companies, are definitely much more sexist, which is why we have to face this problem as well. But another important thing is that, Andrea, like I was seeing how different people see the gender wage gap, and some of them, bring up this point about how women work in low paying jobs. But that's something we need to talk about, right? Why are women picking low paying jobs, which is teaching or psychology related? Do you think there is a specific reason as to why women turn to teaching or psychology related jobs instead of like STEM related jobs that would be paying more?
Maybe because they're scared or afraid to get a job. Like, so I think that sometimes people don't realize that they can do better than they think. And that's a
Exactly.
good point to just give up in something that you want to try because you are scared of trying to do something new.
That is so true because we have a low self esteem. This world makes women feel like we're not enough, we're not worth it, and we can't do anything. Because, okay, is it just me? Is it just me? Or do you feel the same way where you have overachieving women who are beautiful, who are maintaining themselves, who have like good career, settle for a man who has barely
For
anything?
real, for real, oh my God.
This is a serious problem, and that is because this world has set the standard for women. Like women need to have it all. They need to be getting that career, that job, education, children, maintaining herself, maintaining her husband, like everything together. And then you have the man who's just not doing anything, and that is a standard that this world is comfortable with, right? And that's because of this whole problem of how the world makes women feel like they're not enough. But also another thing that people have been talking about is how women are associated with like protecting, caring, and loving, and that is why they pick these jobs because with psychology it's like
Yeah,
caring for
yeah.
people, and with teaching. And I have to be honest, I think I lie in the same spot as well because I also tend to pick careers or pick options that are more easy for me. I think like caring as a woman or protecting rather than something that is scary, something that would put me in that spot and makes me work hard because I feel like I can't work hard, which is the truth. Is it
Yeah.
the same for you as well?
To be honest, no, because my mom,
Wow.
as I always live it with my mom and not with my mom, with my dad. My mom like teach me, you can do same as a man, and a man can do same as you. So me and my brother do all house, like we clean all that stuff, and not just me
Yeah.
doing some stuff and my brother is lying in bed. No, I think that in that point, it's really like, oh my god, I think
Andrea.
it's clear when when your parents give you like these things because they are not trying to succeed with people, like either with your family, and they teach you how you need to be treated.
Exactly. I mean, that is such a healthy household. Like, I see why you are such a healthy individual. Definitely kudos to your mom doing her good job as a mother, just raising both kids in the same household, like with that that is exactly what we need. That is exactly what we need. So much love going out to your mom, and a shout out to your mom actually with from Relax Radio, because that is the kind of parents we need in this society, and that is the kind of parents we lack. We have parents, I've heard my friends. I mean, I don't have a brother in my household. It's just me and my sister. And I've heard of stories where, the parents expect the sibling to go give the food, like the girl child to go give the food to the boy child. And I'm like, why can't he come down and take his own food? Like, it's food. Like, why are
I
you suffering
know.
to come down to get that? And that is just making them, lazy and dependent, and, just putting so much burden on the
Yeah.
woman.
And that's a
Yeah.
good point. Like when you want to leave your house, you can't do that because you are dependent of someone. That's a good point.
Exactly. That is so true. Like, you end up becoming dependent on a woman. And I saw this meme, right? And it's so funny. It's basically this woman, she has a man who's wearing a diaper with, like, a milk bottle in his mouth, and she's holding him like this. And it's like, you're not looking for a wife or a girlfriend, you're looking for a babysitter.
Yes, for real. I think
Exactly
that's very
right.
important to don't think that women are best or guys are men are best
Yeah,
because I think that they are similar. I mean, they are same because we don't need to have like a gender situation when saying, okay, women
definitely.
don't need to do this, don't need nothing. I think we need to do the same thing.
Exactly, and that is something that our society needs to understand, and we have a long way to go with that. But we will also be talking about the role a woman plays in her house, and let's go into the detail about this. How the roles that we play as
And
women.
it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, got me thinking. You want to stand out. Why do you want to stand out though so much, especially with these kind of shirts when you're writing? There must be a purpose behind it, right?
Well, when you say a purpose, Nick, what I do, I wear the shirts, mainly one because they're nice and bright, so they make me visible, especially if I'm riding on the road.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's very important, right? Because
Very
you want
important, yeah.
cars, yeah.
Very important. And also, like, people see me in like calves, and perhaps I shouldn't be saying this on here, I suppose, but in the bar afterwards.
All right.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, you look like a guy who would do.
You know me too well. You know me too well, Nick.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? But when you are basically going out and during a day, you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. You buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true, the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods, they're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK. We've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? Because in a public company where the stock is traded openly on the stock exchange, the value of that stock is driven by supply and demand, it's driven by emotion, it's driven by news, it's driven by quite a lot of variables over and above the actual accounting or total net worth of that company. I mean, we've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing. Right? And the company may still have value. It may still be doing quite a good thing.
Welcome back to the social roundup. This is Sala and
Andrea.
Andrea. What happened there? Like, we just disappeared. We didn't give anyone any warning.
I'm looking at you. You were like, no. But
Yeah, I was like, oh wait, what happened? That was an accident. We're sorry about that. We didn't mean to like leave you hanging here, but we're back. And Andrea, I just wanted to say you're wearing such a cute outfit. I love what you're
thank you
wearing.
so much. Thank you so
You know,
much. I
I've
like
known.
your. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I've noticed you wear like really cute outfits, and I never get to tell you that.
Thank
But
you.
yeah.
I mean, I love you how you dress as well, like
Thank
with your hair,
you.
the
Thank
blonde.
you. Yeah, actually, recently I got this done. I have two friends. I have only two
I
friends
watch
for
the
life.
TikTok. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Uh, yeah. So they bleached it. This is just bleaching. This is not even like color. But it's pretty cool. I'm so happy with
Wow.
my new hair. But yeah, and I
Love
saw
it.
that you had uploaded some new TikToks on Relax Radio as well.
Yeah, I mean, if people can want to watch it, let's go to. You can go to our TikTok and follow us, and also in Instagram, in Twitter, and Facebook because we always put things to make you update with us. And also, don't forget to download the app by iOS and Android. But yeah,
Yeah, definitely. And I'm telling you, you're not going to regret it. Andrea has made some really cool TikToks. Like it's a whole journey. And I was like watching it and I was thinking, oh, I really want that. I want to make that. And now I'm actually
okay.
considering making one of my journey as well. So definitely follow us on TikTok. And we're actually having an important conversation today, right here on the gender wage gap. And Andrea, on that note, you brought up something really important about how at home, your mom has been making sure that your brother and you both play an equal role, right? And that is something so important because another reason that the gender wage gap exists is because women take up more work at home than men. So men get to do overtime and women
Yeah.
are expected to come back home. And what do you think about this situation actually?
I think that woman is because they get used since they are child, so they are just saying, "Oh, it's normal for me, so maybe it's gonna be normal for work. So I need to do this because they are seeing that as a normal." But I think that is really important to do the same work as your partner, as your brother, your family, or anyone that you are living with, because I think
Definitely.
that when you are a child, you learn more things. Like you are more open mind. You don't know what's right and what's wrong. And if someone teaches you the right way, you are gonna be learned and you're gonna say, okay, this is not gonna happen to me. If someone tell me I need to work like 30 minutes more, or I need to stay more time, or I need to don't do this, something like that.
Exactly. And even with like raising kids, I think, women are expected to play more of a role than the men. So women have to come back home, which is why women actually take up things like teaching because it's half day. You don't have to stay the whole day. And sometimes the parents, even the mother, ends up teaching at the child's school so that, you can come home with the child, which is really sad
Yeah.
because that shouldn't be the case, right? And the men just get to come home whenever they want, do whatever they want, and the wife is expected to cook and feed him, the children. That domestic role of a woman is something that needs to change. Don't you think like men need to like buckle up, sit down and do work now? It's time up that they do that, right? And I feel like that is lacking so much. But on that note, how you were talking about your mother, right? And I think like from my parents, my father has been spoiling my mother, which is also not healthy because she's like a Persian cat at home. She literally just lays in bed and just enjoys herself. My father is washing clothes, cooking food, cleaning the house. He does everything for her, and she's just a Persian cat at home. But that shouldn't be the case. That isn't healthy. Both partners need to take equal role. And what do you have? What do you think that couples need to think about when they start dating now to stop this problem?
Wow, I think that if I'm gonna date someone and they told me, okay, you need to give me your money, you need to pay this, you need to clean, I'm gonna say I'm not gonna live with you because we are paying for this. If we are gonna live together, we are gonna do this together, not just me doing random
Definitely.
stuff that you want to. I think that, as you said, everything needs to be equal for both.
Exactly. Like, you need to start getting comfortable because I know that, ultimately this world has set a standard for men to pay everything. And it is really hard. Like, I've noticed when I go on dates, when the boy tries to, let me pay, the waiters or like the staff at the restaurants like make a face. They're like, wait, no, why is the lady paying? The man should be paying. But that isn't the case. We need to get more comfortable with both the man and the woman doing an equal part at home, because that is how we can fix this gender wage gap problem as well, because then we have a shared domestic role at home, which makes women get to work as freely as men out as well, right? And on that note, Andrea, what is something that you also think you need to give advice to women when they are picking a partner for themselves, when taking this issue into consideration?
I looking at a note, something that said like, don't date someone that you don't think to marriage. Like, not in
Definitely.
the same case that you are gonna marry that in that person, like in that moment. No, but thinking like, is that a good person? If at some point of my life I'm gonna live with this person, because why are you gonna date someone that doesn't help you, doesn't understand you, and is not equal in everything?
Exactly, that is so true. And the other thing is that I was actually talking on the social roundup. We spoke about, toxic people who may be, abusive and controlling in your life as a partner. And one of the signs is that they take financial control. So they start, stopping you from working. They say, do not work. You can depend on me for money. They give them credit cards from their accounts. And they say, if you need money, you need to come to me. And that is a sign of a controlling partner. That is not
Yeah,
normal behavior.
absolutely.
So, exactly right. So, Andrea's advice is something that you need to consider and you need to think about, because if someone is doing that, then definitely there is a problem there as well. Another problem is that with the gender wage gap, there is another barrier that women need to face, and that is women who are part of minority communities. If you are not, the standard woman, you are a woman of color, you are an Asian woman, or you come from an origin of Asia or Africa, there is a chance that you will be getting paid less than a woman, a white straight woman, right? What do you think about this problem, Andrea? Is it actually a problem? Is it prevalent?
I think that we still win these problems because I think that why do we need to judge people as well by their color? Because I see that here, at least in the UK, in London, most of the time I just see Latin women working in cleaning and all that stuff. And sometimes people relate it, like when I say I'm working, they ask me in cleaning and stuff and say, why do you think that? Why do you
Oh
think
my
I'm
god, the
working in cleaning? I get so
stereotypes.
mad because you don't need to
Exactly.
stereotype things like that.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, that is your personal story, Andre, and that matters because that is exactly what we need to be hearing as well. We need people coming up and telling their story, their experience, right? Because, ultimately that is going to, make an impact, because people don't believe us when we say this. When we tell them, we face
Yeah.
discrimination at work, they're like, oh, that's all in your head. But look, we have firsthand experience with that, right? And thank you actually for sharing your experience with us, Andrea, because that really matters, and for trusting us with this as well.
No, it's
But
fine.
that is exactly what we do here at Relax Radio. We're giving you that space, that safe space for you to share your story and tell us what your experiences are, right? Because we want the world to know what is the truth, what is actually happening as well. With that being said, Andrea, I really really do agree with this whole stereotype thing, because that is something that really happens, with and Latino culture. Like, what are the other sort of problems that they face when it comes to employment or jobs? What are the other things that women of the Latino community face?
I think that they sexualize. Like, this is a Latino woman. She has long hair. She's supposed to be a love and all that stuff.
Oh my god, like, isn't it enough that we have a gender wage gap? Do we also need to start putting women through this torture? This is just absurd,
I
right? Like,
know.
yeah,
That's
like,
so unfair. Like,
that is so
imagine if
true.
that happens to your mom or to yourself or to your best friend. Like,
Definitely.
how you gonna feel if someone start judging me or judging them, or like don't have that job because of those reasons that they are not true at all?
Exactly, that is so true. I think, like, we need to also work on making work safe for women because, from the time you leave your house to the time you get back, like, everyone is worried for you. Your loved ones are constantly worried whether you got home safe or not, right? Because of the fact that, even the workplaces are not safe anymore, right? And this is exactly the kind of things that these are the kind of problems that people face, with sexualizing women at work, with, workplace abuse as well, right? So these are things that we need to look into. These are things that we need to fix. And if we're not going to question that, we're not going to be able to address it. Which actually brings us to an interesting topic, Andrea. What should people do if they're in a workplace where women are not feeling safe? Because another reason that women don't work is because they don't feel safe to work anymore. They think that it's not safe for me to work here, it's not safe for me to go out and work, so I'm just going to stay back at home, right? Which isn't healthy at all. So, what do you think that people
Oh,
should do if they're part of a work environment where this sort of behavior is there?
I think you said a really like a really good point because I think that that happens. Like most of my friends that they are girls or women, they told me like I'm scared. I'm gonna send you my location by WhatsApp
Oh,
because I
yeah.
don't know what's gonna happen. I do that as well with my friends because I leave home like 5 a.m. and I get back at 11 or 10. So
Oh my God,
during that
yeah,
time, I'm outside and I don't know what's gonna happen to me. So I just let
exactly.
my mom know where I am in that moment and my brother because he always calling me like, "Hi Andrea, how are you? Is everything okay? Okay, bye." And that's all.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing, right? Our parents and siblings and our loved ones are constantly worried for us because, this world is not a safe place for women, which is another reason that women do not want to work because they're scared. They're scared what's going to happen to them. The gender wage gap isn't just about, women not getting paid, but it's also about, women not feeling safe to work anymore, which shouldn't be the case, right? So this is something that we need to think about. But again, let's talk about how women need to be, what we can do as individuals working in a work environment, what we can do if we see women facing these discriminations, right? But let's go for a small break and be back. This is Salah on the Social Roundup with.
Andrea.
One of the easiest ways to increase your net worth is to ensure that you have higher cash flows. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to not buy things on hire purchase, not buy things over months and months because you can't afford them now, but you want it. It's kind of that delayed gratification. Rather than buy that couch, that car, that stereo, that computer, whatever item, and pay it off over 12, 24, 36 months at an interest rate, rather invest that money, make do with what you've got, and then after 12, 24, 36 months, take the money that you've now invested and buy that good. An asset could be anything that appreciates or reduces a tax bill. So it could still be a liability, but it reduces their tax bill. And I'm not going to go into the technicalities because that's out of our remit here. However, for our use or our purpose, what we are talking for the listeners here is I would put this definition of an asset forward. An asset is anything that increases your income. Anything.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? When you are basically going out and during a day, if you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true that the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods. They're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if that, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK.
Welcome back to the social roundup with Sala and
Andrea.
Andrea. It's Friday, and I just keep remembering, the way the week. But I think it's really important to be talking about these topics, especially during the end of the week, because we want to start a new week, on a fresh note, keeping things in mind, making sure that we do whatever we're supposed to do to make our lives better. With that, Andrea, we're actually talking about what we can do to make life better for women at workplaces. What do you think that people could do? What is something that is in their control that they could do to make work safe for women?
I think that it's really important to talk, like not just being like quiet and in silence, keeping that for you and saying, okay, you are not doing this right to me because that's not my work, or I don't need to work more hours, or something that's happened to you at work. I think that's very important to
Definitely.
talk.
That is so true. I think like women have always had this pressure where if they express themselves, people take them as people who are constantly complaining. It's like, oh, women are always going to complain. They're never going to be satisfied with what they have. But the truth is, you are creating this situation in which women have to tell you this. Women are facing some sort of discrimination at work, and they have to talk about it. Talking about it definitely helps, right? And another thing, Andrea, I think that people should be doing is that, if they see this sort of discrimination happening at work, they shouldn't keep silent, even if they're not the woman, even if there's someone who is a friend or a coworker, or if they're the man who's given more priority over the woman, then they need to do something to, stop, putting up with that, and they should question it as well. Do you agree with me?
I completely agree because that you said a really good point. I think that as don't be in silence. I think I get mad when people
Yeah.
say, I'm not gonna say anything. I mean, why not?
Definitely, definitely. Because, we're so used to being silenced. We're so used to, keeping silent when we have been feeling discriminated, when we feel like we're, not getting enough at some place, or we're feeling like, with payment, especially with salaries, we're not willing to negotiate. And that is something that could help with the gender pay gap. Research shows that they encourage salary negotiation. So if you feel like you're not getting paid enough, and if you feel like your male counterpart is getting paid more than you, then definitely talk to them. Like Andrea said, talk to them and let them know that, this isn't fair at all as well, right? And another thing, Andrea, that people have pushed for is to, stop including pictures of yourself on the CV.
Oh.
Apparently that'll really help, without your name. People have pushed for nameless and pictureless, so that, they don't know what sort of culture you come from. They don't know what your gender is. They don't know, any of that information. They're simply picking you based on skills. What do you think about that?
I mean, we ended at some point that we can even use our name and our pictures. That's fair. Like, why do
Yeah,
people need to judge us for our name and how
exactly.
we look like?
That
I'm
is that
so
is
mad
so
with these
true.
things because it's so unfair.
That is so true. Like people basically, worry about not being able to pronounce your name, and so they don't pick you at workplaces, which is absurd. Like, why you're deciding not to pick me simply because you can't pronounce my name and because I come from a different culture? Like, that is just it is absurd. It has no explanation, right? So that's definitely another suggestion that people have given. But another thing is also to encourage women to start, exploring opportunities with job and education, and not stick to the stereotypical, psychology related or teaching related or kids related jobs that are there. And that is something. What do you think about that as well, Andrea? Do you think that is something that could definitely help?
Yeah, I think because as I told you, women and men can do the same thing. So, and I think that another thing is that a woman and doesn't want to get to have babies anymore because of these
Yes.
situations.
Yeah, that is so true. That is so true. And I think that is something that we need to talk about as well. Because Andrea, you come from a very healthy household, and I'm saying this in all good senses. We would love to hear what that experience is like, so people know what sort of household or what sort of upbringing that they should be giving their children. Tell us what experience your mother has, with you and your brother, so that people can take back something from there.
Oh my God, yes. I have so many stories because I when I was a child, I
Uh
always
huh.
looking at my mom like she was not fighting but having discussion with people. Mostly they are women's, not
Yeah,
men's. And I was like, why is my mom so problematic? Why is she doing that? But now I'm just realizing, and I remember why she was doing that. It's because everything was unfair. They say, you need to work these hours, you need to do this more. And my mom was saying that her rights, like I don't need to do that because that's not my
definitely.
work. You're not paying me to do that. So now, like when you grow up, you realize so many things that you didn't take care when you were a child.
That is so true. I think, you were talking about communication, how people need to tell how they're feeling. And I feel like you've gotten it from your mom as well, right? Because she has spoken how she felt. She is exactly speaking her mind, which is what has gotten her this far. And she's raised an amazing daughter right here who is with
Thank
us on
you.
Relax Radio. We're blessed to have you, girl. I'll tell you that. Like,
You.
I don't think, these interesting stories that you brought are very important for parents to listen to. And I think even if you're simply a teenager or as young as Andrea and I are, if you are hoping to have a family in the future, these are things to keep in mind, to make sure that, you are raising your kids equally, giving them the same sort of attention and upbringing, so that they grow up to be in a healthy environment. Another thing that, people have spoken about is sharing roles at home, which is something that we were talking about, right? Now, Andrea, even with sharing roles is something that I heard, like one of my teachers, right? My English literature teacher was telling me how her boyfriend likes to cook, but she has to wash the dishes because the dirty work is done by a woman.
Wow.
Can you believe
Wow.
that? Exactly, right. And she was so light about it. She was like, oh yeah, my boyfriend cooks, but he tells me to wash my dishes because ultimately, women should be doing the dirty work at home, even if we're sharing duties at home. And I was like, that isn't right. That definitely isn't right, right? See, even when you're sharing duties, even if you're going to be doing that, definitely think about how you're sharing duties, and don't do it based on these gender stereotypes, because these gender stereotypes are definitely not going to get you anywhere, right? Are there any other suggestions, Andrea, that you think are important when addressing the gender wage gap?
I think respect each other. Like you are not gonna go and bother your partner, your coworker because of yeah, no.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. And I also think like it is so important to get the core values like respect, honesty, and deserving, giving it to people who actually deserve it. Things like that matter so much, because you see women who work so hard not getting the attention. And even with things like, oh, if a woman is, a really good leader, she's called bossy. And a man who's a good leader is actually, oh wow, he's a good leader. And if he gets aggressive, that's a good leader sign. But when you have a woman who gets angry, it's like it's a bad thing. Like, have you noticed any other stereotypes at workplaces like that?
Um, maybe like they need to like clothes and all that stuff. But I would like to know what
Yeah.
do you think about these things? Because do you have any experience similar like this?
Well, one thing that I realized is that, sometimes men, when they come into work, they come in, just the way they feel like they want to come in. They don't even dress properly, or, that's just how it is. But, women are expected to, they have dress codes, just,
Yeah,
and they're much more stricter with dress codes with women, because they're like, oh, we don't want you distracting men at workplaces. Like, what is that?
I
What do
know.
you mean? Like, he needs to know to control his eyes. This is my body. Tell him to stop being a creep, right? But that's just how it is. That's a kind
Yeah.
of work environment we have, work culture we have in this world, and it's just so saddening, right? Have you had any experiences like that?
No, but I get mad when people keep looking at me, either for the good or bad reason. I'm just like, why are you looking at me?
That is so true. Like when they don't even look back. Sometimes you make eye contact, you look at them like
Yeah.
you're looking at me, and they still keep looking at you and making you feel
Yeah,
uncomfortable. Like, no wonder women don't want to work, because they don't feel safe, and they pick places where there are other women or children, so that they don't have to deal with men, and they don't have to deal with, feeling unsafe like this. Because the truth is, like you were saying, even my dad like calls me up during the day like 3 times to make sure that I'm safe, because he's constantly worried about me, right? And that is just, it's really sad. It's really sad, the kind of world we live in, how we have to, depend on men for safety as well. Because that's another thing, right? Have you noticed that sometimes when you want to go out, you ask your male friend to come with you, just because there's no other way you'll feel safe?
absolutely. Like when I am arriving at home, like 2 a.m. or something like that, my
Yeah.
mom calls, say to my brother, "Hey, go and pick her on the bus stop." Because to be honest, I get scared. Like once I really
Yeah.
get scared for that.
No, I completely understand. It is fair for you to get scared, because that is the kind of world we live in. We don't feel safe, right? And it's just really, really heartbreaking. But ultimately, we have to depend on men for that safety, because this world is not safe now. Some one of my friends' father actually gave me good advice, which I really, really liked. He was like, "Look, I know that you won't like to depend on a man. I know that you don't like to, get safe, feel safe when a man is around, right? Now, for example, I would ask my boyfriend, or a male friend, or my father to come with me somewhere, but I feel guilty about it, because I talk about how men, we shouldn't depend on men for that safety. But he was like, look, you should work for that. You should work towards a society in which women can go out alone. But at the same time, we still aren't there, because we're still
Yeah.
not there. We have to do whatever it takes to keep ourselves safe. And if it means that we can't go out at night, if it means that we need to have someone who is a man around when we're going out in night, we need to do that for now until we get there. Do you agree with that?
I completely agree with you. I don't like to depend with guys. When I'm at night, like with my friends, and a random guy comes to me and my friend, instead of
Yeah.
calling a man to help me, I just go to my phone and like making up that I talking to my man, like, man, yeah, you're gonna pick me out in 5 minutes or 3 minutes, or they get scared and they leave.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
want
That
to
is
do
so true.
that.
Exactly. Like, I've noticed even TikToks being made where, people sort of make videos where they're like responding. So basically, on the video, the person will be like, "Hey, are you on your way home?" So you just put the video on your phone, and you would respond to that video. That is how dangerous the world is, to the point where people have to make TikTok videos like people are on call, so they feel safe coming back home, right? And that's just so sad. Like, this is just one way to look at, why women may be not working, and we need to make sure that we do do whatever it takes to make women feel safe and be able to go out into the world and do what they like to do with their life. With that being said, Andrea, I think we're coming to an end of the show. Let's go for a small break and be back right here on the Social Roundup. This is Salah and
Andrea.
And climb Mount Everest. That is one of my that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do. Hopefully,
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. Okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest. Maybe the base camp at least.
They're talking about mental health. Well, if you went out and got some exercise in the fresh air, that will improve your mental health. It will make you feel better.
That's true. That is true. I wholeheartedly agree. But then for some people, it's how do you find the motivation to, especially when it comes to riding a bicycle, to do it again and again and again and again? It's a cycle that you have to be used to. How do you do it? What makes you wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm gonna pick my bike up today. I'm gonna cycle. What makes you want to do that?
What makes me want to do that?
Yeah. What do you like? What could you give listeners, like people listening in right now? What kind of tip could you give them?
Well, the first tip I would give them, if you haven't tried it before, try it. It can open up new horizons. It will make you fitter. It will definitely make you fitter. Cycling is one of the best forms of aerobic exercise you can do.
It sounds like, if you think about it, yeah, it sounds like great fun. Because what essentially you're trying to say is also at the same time, when you, if you look at it from this perspective, with regards to mental health, especially when you look at it with mental health, this is another way to fight it. I feel like you go outside, you meet more people, you interact with, socially, you will interact with more people, and you're keeping fit, you're making connections, you're breathing in the good and exhaling the bad. I feel like that's a great thing right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got a better way with words than I have, I'll tell you. But you're quite right. What you say there. You're quite right.
I've been doing this for quite some time. Hey, you'll get the hang of it.
I've been doing it for about 10 minutes now, so yeah.
That I can never really understand people staying in one room the whole day when you can have the world to see. I am a traveler. I travel. I love traveling. Traveling is just one of the things I do. And on top of my bucket list was, to one time, hopefully when I get there, go to Nepal and climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. Okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
Base camp, yeah.
At least.
Would you be able to cycle there?
Oh.
welcome back to the Social Roundup. This is Salah and
Andrea.
We've been talking about something really important today, which is the gender gap. Let's just, since we're coming to an end of this round, right? Let's just take a look at what we've spoken about today. Do you want to maybe start it off for us? What have we been talking about today?
Yeah, we've been talking about what our ideas and our point of views about this topic, but I think that we both get mad because I think that that's unfair for women. Because I think that, as I said, you and me said that everything needs to be equal for women and men, and not just leaving everything to a one gender.
Yeah, that is so true. And we did take a look at not only our personal experiences, but we also spoke about what we can do as well, which is where Andrea's mom comes in. Today is a full-on shout-out day on Relax Radio for Andrea's mom, who's done an amazing job as a parent, making sure. Now, that is something that we need to think about as well. That is something we need to take back home, because we need to ultimately make sure that, the girls and the boys in our households feel like they're equal. They feel like, they can do what the other person is doing, and their gender doesn't really matter. And that is going to help them bridge this gender gap, because then they're going to explore and try out new jobs and new options to study as well. They're not going to feel restricted based on their gender stereotypes, which is something that they need to do. So that is something to think about. And we spoke about how feeling safe at work is also something that we really need to address as well, right, Andrea?
Yes, yes. As you said, you give us really good advices about how to take this in a good way, to treat your coworker with respectfully, talking, communication.
Exactly. Those are important things that we need to be thinking about. And it is important for us to, somehow make sure that ultimately, we are creating a space in which women feel like they can do anything so that we can bridge this gender wage gap. And we also need to think about this whole new suggestion to take away the name and the picture so that we're not getting discriminated by our gender or our nationality, race, religion, ethnicity, whatever it may be as well, right? With that being said, Andrea, we're coming to the end of the show. We do have something interesting coming up. Do you want to kind of give them a teaser?
Oh, we're gonna talk about another mad thing that make us mad, which is
Definitely.
I know I get mad with those things. We're gonna talk about the silent child abuse.
Definitely. It is something that needs to get attention, and we are going to be a little mad, but it's the end of the week, so we're going to get that break on Saturday and Sunday, which we're looking forward to. But do stay tuned with us while we end this, and we're going to be back on the social roundup. This is Sala and
Andrea.